Hello, America, and to our friends around the world, greetings, welcome back. A few months ago, I had attempted to relearn Maltego, which I had brought up in previous videos, as far as an information gathering tool. Um, my relearning isn't going as well as I prefer, so that is a lack of progress update on that project. But I wanted to let you know that as I was doing with the Dutch language learning, when my schedule was a lot more open, that I wanted to establish a baseline that uh, it's often easy to look at the end result and think it came easily, whatever that skill, that ability, that practice, whatever it is that's being demonstrated, that it came easy to the one who is demonstrating, that is demonstrating it to, for others to learn from. And behind the scenes, I've been attempting to spend my downtime working on Maltego, and I've gotten Maltego installed, and I installed its transforms. But as far as being able to do the connections, you type in a website address. Let's use Google because Google's generic and everybody's heard of it. Your space, it's supposed to, based upon the transforms that you incorporate, generate connections, and it will begin listing, whether it's subdivisions,
Read this text wall for more info.
department heads,
Part 4, the
so
walls are
forth.
alive.
I
As
wasn't
I
even
went
able to
further
get that
deeper
far,
into this
which I
topic,
found to be
I started
very
to break my sense of what my
bothersome.
old reality
I'm not
was.
certain the reason. I was using Community Edition. Perhaps that is the reason by itself. The transforms are extraordinarily limited in what's available when you use Community Edition compared to the paid services. But I haven't given up. I just haven't had the time to dedicate to it. And one of the issues that I thought was of concern was there seemed to be a time limit on Community Edition that wasn't there the last time I had used it. So I haven't forgotten, and I'm not gonna, just leave it hanging as if, it was never spoken of. It is something that I will get back into unless I find a tool that is of the same ability or greater ability that can do the same thing. But I just want to give you an update. And in my opinion, Maltego is not only a good tool in which to base one's skills on being able to locate information and resources, but why let's say you want information on the CFO or CEO of the company. Let's say you're James Damore, the guy that was infamously terminated from Google, and you wanted to file suit. Well, you go online, you can't find the information. You create an email account that's throwaway email account, and you go to Dun and Bradstreet. At least at one point in time, you could go to Dun and Bradstreet and practically get their home information. Whether that's true or not, still, I don't know. I do know that I've mentored other people on how to get information from Dun and Bradstreet and be able to call the company of which they're having the issue and bypass the gatekeepers to get results. So the conundrum: for what reason would somebody continue beating their head against the wall, attempting to learn something of which you can then use for free and has already been collected, collated, and resourced, archived via an organization such as Dun and Bradstreet. Now, granted, you're only limited to 2 to 5 free, you know, queries through DNB, but if you're James Damore, you only needed to do it once to get the CFO's name and you know address to have them served, right? So, and that's essentially what the purpose of having a resource such as Multigo would be for, is to be able to help do background investigation. But you can do stuff like that with apparently Phone Infoga and The Harvester, among other social engineering tools. So I just want to give you an update and let you know I hadn't forgotten. I still plan on revisiting that training and finding out what needs to be done to get back up to speed. Whether you like it or not, technology is everywhere in our lives. And right now, everywhere you turn around, it's about AI, the so-called artificial intelligence. And what you're looking at right now was a prompt that I typed into Qwen, and I did a screenshot of it. So it was based off of a video command prompt of creating. And first of all, the first vision that it created for me was 3 panels side by side of the sky, earth, and Duat. And I had to recalibrate the command text to do it in this order. And it still isn't accurate. I mean, the sky is on there twice, because the earth has the clouds on the, going over the continents there. But it conveys the image. The end result image is more in line with what I wanted versus the first time around. And this is out of that book, Mythology, the illustrated anthology of world myth and storytelling. And the general editor is C, as in Charles, Scott Littleton. I have no idea if the first initial is Charles, so don't hold me to it. Order out of chaos. The Egyptians' understanding of the universe was limited by what they could see around them. According to ancient texts, the waters of chaos surrounded their world, which was separated into 3 parts: the earth, the sky, and the underworld, which was known as the Duat. The sun journeyed into the perilous Duat at night, which was why it could not be seen. This lucid but somewhat disturbing vision raised one crucial question. How had life been formed in the first place? The previous AI video that I had put together demonstrated the different 5-second clips as I stitched them together, that demonstrated the mound, the energy, life energy, Ptah, and the potter's wheel. But I wanted to revisit some of this a little bit. Look at the animated features. Look at the clouds moving at the top. Look at the flames and the fire, the lava in Duat, the underworld. It's very, very, compelling information. Very visually active. And this is just the free version. And I've got some more that I'm going to go over here. But first off, I wanted to revisit Ptah with the potter's wheel. And we're going to transition from that into the other gods. So, all right. In their In their accounts of the mysteries of creation, the Egyptians were inspired by the natural world. They observed the changing levels of the Nile River and the alluvial silt that was left behind as the annual flood receded. The black silt was rich in nutrients that enabled crops to flourish. Each year, as the Nile flood retreated, the newly fertilized earth began to appear above the surface of the waters. The Egyptians concluded that creation had started in a similar way, with a single mound that rose from the vast expanse of the primeval waters, which contained a procreative energy that was the source of all life. The Egyptians concluded that creation had started in a similar way, with a single mound that arose from the vast expanse of the primeval waters, which contained a procreative energy that was the source of all life. The mound was central to all Egyptian creation myths, and its existence was never disputed. The god Tefnut, whose name translates as risen land, personified this primordial feature. But the precise origins of the mound provoked debate. Where had it first arisen? Every major religious center claimed that it had emerged at its own site, and theologians spent a great deal of time debating which deity had first appeared there. The creation myths themselves varied from place to place. At Heliopolis, in Lower Egypt, a family of 9 original gods, the Ennead, or group of 9, as the Greeks had called them, was worshipped. The first god to materialize on the mound was Atum, lord of Heliopolis. Described as he who came into being of himself. He immediately started to produce more gods, according to one part of the pyramid text. He took his penis in hand and ejaculated through it to produce the twins Shu, which is air, and Tefnut, which is moisture. And there's a side note, when I did some looking up, these two are depicted as twins, as in Gemini twins, as lions. So, but yet lion is associated with August, Leo. That's what it was. So anyway, back to the story here. While elsewhere in these texts, Adam is said to have sneezed out "shu," huh? Achoo, achoo. Yeah, bad joke. Sneezed out "shu" and spat up Tefnut. Thus, the world's atmosphere was formed. Shu and Tefnut then coupled to produce Geb, otherwise known as Earth, and Nut, otherwise known as Sky. Nut and Geb begat 4 children: Osiris and Seth, the opposing gods of order and disorder, and their consorts, Isis and Nephthys. From these origins, all other life came into being. I went ahead and had it generate the AI video of Osiris and Isis, and It apparently decided to be creative with its interpretation of Set and Nephthys. Here's the AI rendering of Isis on the left and Osiris. Apparently, this is supposed to be Set on the left and Nephthys on the right, but I don't think so. I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say no. So if I do any improvements next time I go over to the library and use their internet service to go online and use this tool, I'll probably update this video image or video generation. So the last few minutes has been a recap incorporating both still images and the video generated images. And I wanted to conclude with what I had created most recent, and nothing against being interrupted when you're in a public place such as the library. Part of the reason to go there is to make human connections with others, connect with those that you've met, meet new people, and connect with them. So my time was a bit divided between attempting to generate these videos and have a list of projects I wanted to get accomplished. And I had managed to accomplish probably about 95% of what I set out. I just didn't accomplish as many video generations as I had intended. But this is the classic tale of Set presenting the sarcophagus to Osiris, Osiris receiving it, Isis collecting his scattered remains, and then reconstructing him. So let's get the AI video a moment here to catch up. But I'll continue on when it's done. And this is only about 25 seconds when it's all said and done. And but I wanted to touch on it about the Isis reconstructing Osiris, them copulating, and then her becoming pregnant, leading to Horus. And here's Osiris with the sarcophagus. This is Isis collecting his body parts, his scattered body parts, and then rebuilding him. And then Osiris is green for fertility, and then pregnant Isis. As I said at the beginning, I've been attempting to use my downtime to relearn Maltego unsuccessfully. In addition to that, if you've been following the videos for any length of time, you've seen the development of the chickens. And that takes a good part of my time. Taking what's left of my time to learn this video generation via AI is new, but in my opinion, it is something that is important to be done. And it is something which, whether you use it for image generation, text generation, video generation, whatever, you need to know how to use it. And becoming more proficient is going to make you more valuable and have a tradable commodity skill, if that's even a phrase. But we'll continue on with this. I just wanted to give you a sample. And as I said, you know, I like to utilize the library. They have a lot of books to be able to draw on for something such as this. And their internet connection is reliable, as well as it is a decent area for socializing. And that is something that, if you're watching this video, most likely you're watching others on here that are encouraging you to make those human connections, that to get to know your neighbors. You may not like them, but it has probably more to do with the fact that you don't interact with them. And if you go at it from the angle that they didn't like me first, it's not going to do anything to bridge the gap. In the meantime, though, I wanted to put this together, and I'm going to overlay it with footage that I put of the chickens on the porch when they were outside. Because I put the camera on them today on the porch. All 12 of them were outside, and several hours. They're okay with it, but they don't like it. They would rather be in the cat the cat's habitat that I used to have for outside that I repurposed for them for the chickens. They'd rather be in there so that they can climb up on the mezzanine, I guess. Anyway, it's not like they don't have things they can. They have items they can climb upon on the porch. I put ladders out there into the nesting beds up to the other shelf, and put the food up on the other shelf so they could have a three-dimensional environment. But I don't know if it's the heat because they if I close the front door, they go ballistic. They want the sun. They demand being able to look outside and see daylight. The moment it goes dark, they don't like it. Whether I'm going to bed or if I close the door for some reason, you have to get my hat off the rack or put the broom away. Uh, they let me know that that's not acceptable. That they want their sun back. Apparently, they like with the roosters getting the mohawk. You know, they are sun worshippers. I find it amusing, but a lot of animals are, including ourselves. So, but anyway, I just wanted to give you some updates with the chickens, with Maltigo, with other developments, and introduce other images of the AI generation. It is, like I said, it's free, so it is going to be cheesy. It is going to be, slipshod, but it's free. It's something to practice your ability to write prompts before you drop any amount of money. I'm liking it. I'm enjoying myself coming up with creative ways to write the text to get it to generate what I want. I'm not liking the length of time that it takes to render the video and the fact that it takes as long as it does for 5 seconds. I was impressed with the Synthesia presentation, but that is more for a business environment in terms of you're attempting to promote a product or an item. All right, I'm going to segue into something else.